Orientation, okay, rotate device back. Why is it doing this? I don't even know if we're live. Are we live? We are live, okay. But why is the orientation blocked? We're going this way.
Yeah.
We're going, that's it. So,
Facebook wants you to do live anyway.
as they say, we're back. Don't adjust your TV. So, Greg, when these gentlemen were talking about how logical it is for people that are providing outdoor recreation to really get together with the people that make the RVs, that makes all the sense in the world, doesn't it?
It does. I've often described the RV industry as being a five-legged stool, and that involves RV dealers, manufacturers, suppliers, campground owners, and RV owners. If you took one of those legs away, the entire stool would collapse. And so it's important for functions like this at RVX and an industry-wide gathering like we're having here for all of the parties to come together and explore common interests and common problems and common solutions, and to talk amongst each other just to find out what our pain points are and what their pain points are, and how we can work together to make a better experience for RV owners.
Yep.
Or for RV owners.
Chad, your thoughts on that, on his comments?
Yeah, I think that we're moving. Technology is definitely moving us to a place where everything is integrating. It used to be that a manufacturer, whether it be in the boat industry or the RV industry, he considered his product sold when it rolled over the curb and was delivered to the dealer. That was his end customer. He wasn't his partner in getting it out of the curb of the dealers, and he didn't care. But now in this global marketplace that we're at, if he doesn't move stuff down the supply chain and help his dealer get stuff out to the people, and we don't engage destination places into the mix, then somewhere the pipeline's going to back up and it's going to explode. I mean, it kind of happened with off-road vehicles. If you look at the ATV craze, right when they start restricting access to public land is right at the point where the market takes off and explodes, and now there are millions of units instead of thousands of units, and they have fewer places to travel. So all those component parts have to get back together and try and figure out how to make a good experience for everybody.
Great, perfect. And I know that, Greg, you've got to roll because you've got another event, so you can just head on out of here. Chad, thank you so much for being with us. And David, tell us where people can find out more about your organization if they want to camp or travel in Wyoming.
Very easy, and we'd love to have you. wyoparks.org, .gov.
Spell WYO.
W-Y-O, parks.gov.
Okay, and you'll guarantee people a great time.
Oh, Wyoming has it.
Okay, and you got to head out to another event.
Yes, sir.
So what we're doing here, folks, and Chad, feel free to stay seated. But Chris and Marvin, come on in. And Chad, you've been around TV biz a long time. Thanks, guys. This is sometimes what you have to do if there's a car crash or a plane crash or something crazy goes on.
Oh yeah.
Right?
The fact that you're hodgepodging yourself back to your audience is not uncommon.
And the fact is, I'm not a techie by any stretch of the imagination. Introduce our next guests.
Oh, okay. Well, by introduction, I'm Chad Booth.
Hi, Chad. Marvin.
I didn't mean introduce yourself to him. I mean introduce him to our audience.
I was getting
Your good friend Marvin.
Marvin is with the Weingard people that are the satellite purveyors of the world. How does that sound? Did I do that right?
You did great.
And Marvin, introduce us, because we only can fit one person on the camera here. Introduce us to your friend here.
Yeah, this is Christopher.
Yes, Chris Doherty.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome.
Okay, so Marvin, tell us about Weingard. It's certainly the brand. It's the Coke of soft drinks. It's the Winnebago of RVs. It's the Kleenex of facial tissues. Tell us why you're here.
Well, we are here to introduce more connectivity. You talked earlier about being connected. We're showing some new products this year that allow people to be better connected out there. A little background on Weingard. It started in 1953 by John Weingard. And John.
Once it says wine, my wife loves it.
Yes, exactly. People ask, well, do you guard the wine? No, we don't guard the wine. That happens to be John's last name. John started back in the 1950s by developing a TV antenna that would allow people to watch live television in Burlington, Iowa, which is 250 miles away from Chicago. And
That was the broadcast capital that you.
broadcast.
Yeah.
And so Chicago was broadcasting live. Happened to be Harry Truman's inauguration. It was being broadcast live invited a couple friends over and said, hey, I think I got this figured out. Turned the TV on, and there was the inauguration live coming right out of Chicago. After the inauguration, people said, well, could we watch live TV all the time? Well, sure. How do you do that? Well, you need one of these antennas. Well, could you build me one, John? Well, yeah.
How many years ago was that, or did you already say it?
Back in 1953 is when he started.
Okay.
About 65 years ago.
So I was 3 years old.
I was -1.
-1. Okay, and the only reason I say that is because historically, you kind of reinvented yourself
We've done that.
several years later when it comes to technology. You know,
He did that. He started out by doing what they call over-the-air antennas, which was what he did back in the 1950s. Then he invented an antenna that allowed you to watch both UHF and VHF channels with the same antenna, patented it, and that was something brand new in the industry. That really kind of made his mark in the antenna market. And then from there he got involved in satellites. Back when the satellite dishes were 8 feet across, and then when they went down to
the dish. Yeah.
so he continued to provide satellite dishes to be able to receive those signals. Today we still do that. We also do things for the internet, so you can watch the internet off the satellites as well, and connect the internet with the satellite. In addition to that, you can now connect with Wi-Fi. So here at the RV show, we're showcasing some new Wi-Fi products.
I wish the heck we knew about it a while ago, because then we could figure out not to broadcast from us.
And I'm very grateful for that because obviously I broadcast. And
Right.
So, and somewhere along the way, either by satellite or by cable or by over-the-air antenna, is the only way I communicate with people. And so it's been.
Because he's kind of an introvert. He's not good face to face, but he's great when the lights are on. But ironically, we're basically back to two cans in a string.
Well, right now we are, but you're handling your paper cup really, really well.
And I'm remarkably steady for a guy who's 68 years. 68? Yeah, 68. So we interrupted you.
No, that's
Give us
So what
a few
we're-
seconds more on that, then we got to go to Chris.
Yes. So what we're doing here, John, is we have new products that we're introducing that allow people to connect to free Wi-Fi if there's free Wi-Fi available for that. And in addition to that, we also do the 4G side, which is the cellular side. So if you're a Verizon customer, an AT&T customer, you can add our product to your existing plan, which is just adding another line onto your plan. Or if you said, you know what, I don't want to mess with a contract or anything like that, I just want to use it when I want to, we have a WineGuard data plan, which allows you to use it as you go. You want to use it for a couple weeks, turn it on, when you're done, turn it off, and it's done, no contracts.
Perfect. Chris Doherty, GS, tell us, now you have you're an active RVer, you've worked for dealerships, you've been a mobile repair person, you've got a different aspect in the industry now.
I do. As I think your viewers are aware, I'm the technical editor for Motorhome and Trailer Life magazines. So we're here covering some product at RVX and making some contacts for some of the 2020 rigs that we're going to be testing in the magazine. So we're really looking forward to getting that going. And you know, as we've done before, this is actually my first time live with John on camera. Normally I'm in my office and doing, you know, a little tech segment or whatnot for you guys. So we get to be here in person, John, which is good stuff.
Yep. Chris, your impressions of the show. I mean, we saw you yesterday morning. I didn't see you again till 4 o'clock today. You guys really work when you're at these shows. This is not a media thing where you eat free food and drink wine that he's guarding.
Yeah, that he's guarding, you know. He was guarding it too well, so we couldn't get at it, but no. In all seriousness, when we come to a show like this, one of the trade shows, we are meeting with a lot of people, and we're looking at product that we want to feature in Motorhome and Trailer Life, and we talk to manufacturers about new rigs that are coming down the road, and start setting up things for tests that will eventually be covered and featured.
And let's be very clear about this. When you test a magazine before RV, whether it's a towable or motorized, you test the hell out of it. You don't just take a look and find out who's taking the biggest ads in your publication.
Absolutely.
Right.
We take these rigs out and we spend days with them. We drive them. We set them up at campgrounds. We go through all the systems and take a very good look at the livability of the coach, what it's equipped with, what kind of the technology it has. So we're able to spend quite a bit of time with the unit that someone who's going in and looking at an RV for the first time at a dealership or at a show wouldn't necessarily have the time to do. And so our readers appreciate that because they get the opportunity to look at these in the magazine, and it gives them some interest that then they can spend a little bit more time, at the lot or, at the dealer's lot or at a show.
Okay. Alan, before you ask that question, Chad, you have a co-host on your show, right?
I do.
Okay, and I believe she's somewhere behind us here.
Yes, she is. She's not.
Do you want to call her out?
No, she's not gonna.
She's not coming out?
No, she's not.
We can turn the camera, We can turn the camera on her.
You are mean and cruel. Like my husband.
Okay.
Saying that.
Okay. So with that, after you say this, I'm going to call Greg Four over. So tell us about your pub, where people can see your show.
Okay, At Your Leisure is available anywhere in the world on YouTube. You can go to our At Your Leisure TV YouTube channel, and you can obviously follow us on Facebook. We post all of our shows and our content, and we give a broad flavor of outdoor recreation in the West every week. 52 half-hour professionally produced episodes every single year. New. No reruns. So if you're bored and want to see what's happening in the great outdoors year-round, At Your Leisure is your place, and RVs are a big part of it.
Great.
And it's time for me to exit this chair and make room.
Okay, and we're going to go back to Mr. Weingart to
Nice to meet you.
find out.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. See you later.
So live TV is kind of amazing.
Fun to be on the show.
Give me a card before you go. So where can people buy your products? You don't have a retail store like Apple or anything like that, but
Camping World. So you go to the Camping World, you can go to a number of RV dealerships and get our products. So they are available retail. You can get them on Amazon. So we have a number of different avenues we can get products.
great. Hey, we're shuttling people in and out here. And the next person who joins us, he's got a smile on his face more than I've ever seen him in the last few years when you were actively involved in the manufacturing side of the business. Our friend is Greg Four. He's with RV Business now, but you spent many, many years driving a Corvette and driving golf balls.
I still do both of them.
But you were with Dicor. Tell us what Dicor is and why you used to spend a lot of time in this at the predecessor of this show.
Well, Dicor was a supplier of components, both to the OEMs and the aftermarket, roofing primarily, and several other things, United Shade. And so we were a long-time supplier, 30-some years. We sold the company to RXL about 18 months ago.
Are they keeping the Dicor name?
Yes.
Oh, they're keeping the name. Okay, smart move. Yeah.
Is alive and well, and they're doing quite well, is my understanding.
Okay. So you walk in this show now in a totally different category. As you look around, are a lot of your friends still here? And how do you feel about this particular event?
Well, my friends are here because I know a lot of young people. That's the only reason my friends are still here.
The others are all retired
Yeah,
and
the others are all
yeah.
retired. Actually, it is an interesting thing for me to do is to go to an RV trade show and look at it from an independent standpoint as opposed to looking at it from a component supplier where I'm looking for opportunities. And because I don't have to do that anymore. But now I can look at it for what it is.
From a different perspective.
Yeah, what people bring and what they're doing, and I can, I'm interested in what they do. So it's fun, actually.
What are you hearing with people as you walk through the aisles? What are they saying?
Well, everybody wishes there was more people here, but we wish that in Louisville for the last 10 or 15 years. So I don't know that has any bearing alone, but I think it'll develop into where it has its own audience. I don't know what that means. I don't know if they know.
Well, the interesting part about this show, unlike Louisville, was Louisville.
Right.
This is not Louisville. This is Salt Lake and San Antonio and Indianapolis, right?
I do think
Is the geography, is that going to change people who come here because of show moving, or is that not a factor?
yes. Maybe over time, no. In the short term, the answer I think is yes. Until it builds its own audience base, then it's going to have an impact geographically. shows here. So, but I think by and large, just the short time I've been here today, that manufacturers and component suppliers have done a really nice job of working hard to show things that are new. And I haven't seen that before, and I give them a lot of credit for those efforts.
Good, perfect. Mr. Weingard, your final thoughts? Joe, come on
Great to
on.
be here. It's been a great show for us, and we've gotten to talk to a lot of your customers, the OEs, and spend time with them, and actually go out and visit with them and find out what they'd like to see now. So,
Okay.
thank you so much for having me.
And with us is the executive producer of Rolling on TV, who's coming over here, along with Jeff. Come on over, you guys. So,
Thank you, John.
why don't you stay? I mean, look, I'm the floor director, I'm the host, I'm the guest coordinator.
He's a sponsor too.
No, I don't have any money. I don't have any money in this. Bring one more chair over. Bring one more chair. So, Greg, this is what happens when Facebook goes out.
Right.
Facebook is out.
Right.
So we tried to go recording on, what do you call it? YouTube, and that went crazy. And so we're putting this big electronic gimbal went nuts on us, so here I am holding the bag here. Introduce yourself. Wait, but let's go to the talent here. Talent. Introduce yourself and then tell us who your special guest is.
My name is Jeff Johnston. I'm Jeff Johnston. I am the host and associate producer of Rollin' on TV. And sitting next to me is my associate, Joe Moniz.
And Joe, tell us about Rolling on TV. Where can people see it? How many years it's been around? And I don't know if you heard the other gentleman talking, but his travel show used to be a boat show. And you have a very similar history where you did boating shows for years and years. And all I've done in the last 10 seconds is answer the question that I just asked you.
Sure you did. You just answered it. No, we did a boat show for 10 years, and we've been doing the RV show now. This is our 9th year. And it's you can see it pretty well over the country. We syndicate it, so it's on a lot of different stations. So the best thing is to go to our website, click on the schedule, and it'll tell you which stations and which times.
Chris, anything you want to ask Greg from a manufacturing perspective, because it's still in his blood, about different types of roofs? Because one of the things that Chris does is to check on whether it's a rubber roof, whether it's a certain type of vinyl or anything like that. But now he's not in the hot seat. You can ask him anything you want.
What's the best
Right?
roof?
That depends on what you want it to do, and I'm being as serious as I can.
Keep it dry inside.
Each one of them have their own unique characteristics. Whether it's weight, whether it's longevity, whether it's installation, whether it's color fast, or whether it gets attacked by things. And there are 4 different roofs today that are all chemically different. Some are reinforced, some are not reinforced. Interestingly enough, we're only worried about longevity. We're only worried about keeping things dry forever. We would go back and use the old EPDM because it still is the best roof. But there are other alternatives that have proved to work pretty well. So the market today, and I don't think any of them are bad. They just have different characteristics.
And Jeff, I see that you go all over the country, and the roof in the northwest part of the country where you live might be responding differently to weather than a roof in Texas. Have you seen, as you've done tests all over the place, and because you look at units pretty detailed as well?
The sensitivity of a roof, like Greg mentioned, to they all have different characteristics, and some will hold up better with the sun and heat better than others. When I have friends in Oregon, for example, who are talking about buying a used RV, and they're asking different ideas, I say, well,
What should you look for, that kind of
I
thing?
say, number one, look on the east side of the mountains, in the dry part of the state, over by Bend or Redmond or something, because there's a whole lot less rain. And if you buy an RV that's been sitting in a farmer's field in Astoria, chances are the number one thing that damages an RV is water damage from leaks and so on. And you buy an RV that's over on the dry side of the state, and chances are you're going to wind up with something that does not have that kind of damage. The roof will be somewhat maybe more degraded due to the sun, but depending on the type of roof material, that may or may not be a factor. But the main thing is you can replace the roof a lot easier than you can a delaminated wall or a rotten ceiling or something along those lines.
Interesting. Chris, I'm sure you see the same thing as well, right?
Yeah, and in New England, you know, we have a lot of coaches that are kept in parks under trees, things like that. And the biggest thing that I push,
Which is an issue because those branches fall. You don't necessarily know when they fall. They may fall, puncture, and then get blown off, and you have no idea that they were even there.
exactly. So that's where RV roof maintenance is so important, is going up, looking at the roof, keeping it clean, and making sure above all that all your sealants are maintained. So you need to be looking at those, you know, 4 times a year at least. If you suspect anything has gone through and done any damage, you need to get up there and fix it right away.
And Joe, tell us more about the show because we've been jumping all over here. But the show is not just a travel show. It's not just a spec show. It really has destinations and.
It's a lifestyle show. You know, we always have, it has something to do with RVing, we'll cover it, whether it's the RVs themselves, the people RVing, destinations for RVs, like what Mark and Don both, we do, you know, maintenance and tips on RVs. It covers all aspects of it. You know, even now we're verging from having younger people like Jeff and I and stuff on the show, having to play younger people.
Jeff laughs at that. Jeff, is that age? I mean, is that age discrimination?
Age reality.
Age reality. Okay, that's the story.
Like, you know, John, there's a lot of younger people getting into RVing.
Right. Well,
And theoretically, I mean, I don't care how much we think we know what young people want, we don't. I mean, we don't even speak the same language sometimes, so you gotta bring some younger people on, let them do their thing.
well,
Reach that market.
you know, on that same topic, I think RVIA did an absolutely phenomenal job in getting new media people here. Bloggers and influencers and that type of thing because they get their news differently. They don't necessarily wait for the newspaper to come the next day. They don't necessarily wait for the magazine to come for the next month. So it will be very interesting in the next few weeks to see the feedback that the industry gets based upon what, with the new people who are not necessarily spec people or detail people, but they're experienced people.
Yeah, it's at the point where, you know, some of these younger, I say younger, I'm people in their 30s and sometimes 40s, but their way of looking at things, like with RVing, I mean, a lot of them now want to get away and get out by themselves and.
Getaway, that's a good title for a campaign, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, they don't talk like we do. You know,
Right.
I'm not meaning that in a negative term.
Right.
But I mean, when you look at their ads on TV, or I'm looking at the ad now sometimes on TV, and my wife said, "What the hell was that about?" You know, I mean, but that's what's reaching them.
Yep.
What they hope this to be is, if you all remember years ago, early in the Super Bowl days, Master Lock was one of the very first advertisements in the Super Bowl. And they had an ad where they shot a bullet
Right.
through the lock. and
Right. That's the first thing I thought of was the bullet
What happened?
in slow-mo.
Right.
Right.
What happened was that Master Lock sales in the next 3 months skyrocketed to levels they had never dreamed of, and stayed at that level because Master Lock was, you'd see it at hardware store. You didn't
No,
really see it. So
that's-
they want this show to be that.
Now that's very funny because usually when an ad breaks, you see a peak in a short period of time and then you see the downward slide. But Master Lock, when you think of locks, I mean that's kind of like the generic phrase.
Advertisement one time years ago.
Probably a lot less cheaper than it is now.
Yeah, it's Master Lock, sort of the Winnebago of the lock business.
Yeah.
So they want RVX
Kevin.
to be that for the RV industry. They want that climb out. Okay? People that you're talking about, it rolls out over the next few weeks, and they want it to be that.
So we've got one more guest here, and we're again, Kevin, totally impromptu, right? Not scripted because we have no internet and that type of thing. So we're doing that. But our friend is Kevin Broom, who's the director of public relations for RVIA, and we're talking about for a first-time show. This is a great show, and the job that y'all did in grabbing new media to come in. You're either going to have a job in promotion or be a new person here next year, but it was so vital to bring in new blood to talk about this industry, isn't it? Wasn't it?
I mean, that was one of the big reasons we moved the show in the calendar into this spring timeframe, because it gave us an opportunity to tell the story about how the RV gets used. It's right at the time when people are thinking about getting outdoors and thinking about taking these great trips, and what better way to do it than in an RV? That's the story we were able to tell.
And the new media that you brought in, I mean, most of them were electronic or social media type people, right?
Plenty of those, some mainstream folks too, some more traditional TV and that kind of thing.
Folks, this is live TV at its best. Right, Greg? I mean, you got to admit, you've been around this business a long time. It's the first time you've seen an interview like this.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I mean, we got a lot of experience and intelligence here. But Kevin, before you were interrupted, before Jose kindly gave his seat up.
Oh yeah, the media. So we
Right.
to be honest, we had more traditional media, and we had more of the electronic media as well. We had probably 30, 35 influencers, purely online media.
Yep.
And that's an area that's going to continue to grow.
And I'm sure some of that stuff is already out there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it goes out. I mean, this is live right now.
Yeah, well, we had some of our influencers who were coming to the show. They were doing stuff about the show ahead of time. And so telling their readers, where this is where we're going to be, this is what we're going to do, this is what's fun and exciting about it. And now they're telling them, this is the fun, exciting stuff we're seeing. So,
Yep. And I'm sure there's some company that's out there that's able to garner the value of the social media exposure that you're getting for it.
yeah, exactly. We'll tally it all up at the end. It's going to be a sizable number of people that we
Great.
reach.
Anything you guys want to ask Kevin?
I can't. I'm an ex-chairman.
Okay, that's right. Well, you know what? But it's important that you. It's important, and I didn't want to get into seeing you on stage, et cetera. But it's important that you come back in a different role, because you can talk now without protecting yourself and your company, and really say what's on your mind.
Well, as Kevin probably knows as well as anybody, I usually say what's on my mind.
Anyway, regardless.
Yeah, regardless.
But that's better. That's better than just nodding.
Yeah, I had a tendency to do that when I was on the board, and but that's okay, because I think everybody has to be comfortable in their own skin. And my skin was, look, I have something to say, I'm just going to say it. And you can like it, not like it. You can be neutral. I don't care. If you don't like it, tell me you don't like it. It's okay. I don't care if you're wrong.
Jeff, final words.
Well, this event has been a grand experiment, and it will be interesting to see how it all shakes out in the end.
Jose, same thing.
Oh, same here. In fact, I was going to ask Kevin, I said, do you find working with these new bloggers a lot different than working with a well-established media? What they're looking for, what they're trying to do, how they do it?
At times, yes, and I would say that part of that is that a lot of times the people that we're working with, they're enthusiasts. They're people who are excited about exactly what they're doing. They don't have to be convinced to do the story. They already want to do it. And so what they're doing is they're trying to learn, and then they're trying to share what they learn with their readers. And sometimes with the more traditional media, you get they're a little more skeptical. They can be a little more skeptical, and because it's not really their passion, they're trying to figure out, why do people want to do this? Versus some of the a lot of the influencers, they're doing it. They understand why people want to do it, and what they're really trying to do is just communicate that passion, and then the cool things that they're saying, that what they like. So that is one significant.
Well, you bring up a very important point, because, and I'll just repeat it and then contrast it to what I'm going to say. these people that you brought in here, the gear people and the traveling, what do you call it, the outdoor people, they're doing that already, okay? As opposed to the people that might be in the industry that don't necessarily utilize the product that they talk about and write about. And that gives you a totally different perspective. And my question to you is, these people didn't ask about capacity of holding tanks or what the roof was made of or how many square feet of storage space is there, right?
Well, yeah, because it's the kind of thing where it's like, if the refrigerator, if it's 22.7 cubic inches or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Irrelevant.
Is it big?
Yep.
What can I fit in there? Can I fit a 2-liter bottle? Can I fit a liter? Can I fit my swell bottle in there?
Yep.
With the storage, it doesn't matter like the footage. Can I get my skis in? That's the kind of thing that they're thinking about it in terms of how is this going to affect my experience?
Yep.
How
The
is
what's
this
in it for me.
Practical measurement as opposed to a technical.
You know what? Exactly. We got to get you on one of our shows directly because you can bring in the double perspective with it from being in the industry and then seeing what it's evolved into.
I forget a lot.
Yeah, well, that's all right. As long as you know how to drive a Corvette. It's so funny because the first time I met Greg, it was the RV Power Breakfast. It was the first one, and you come pulling up in a Corvette. And I think he took 2 parking spaces so nobody would park next to him.
I still will.
He still will. Kevin, your final words. It's your show, baby.
Yeah, this has been
Baby.
exciting.
I don't know where that came
I
from.
think it's been really exciting. The number of just new ideas, the technologies the companies are working on, concept vehicles, the prototypes. It's all just really exciting. And it's great to see, coming from all the familiar faces from a lot of the familiar companies, and just all the great ideas. That's going to change the way RVs, people experience RVs.
Yep. And my guess is that at your wrap-up meeting, you're gonna learn a lot, not necessarily from about placement and floor planning and traffic flow, but what you should be doing to promote it based upon the new media people that you brought in.
I mean, we're learning a lot already, and it's fun. We've had some people who are here for the first time, some media folks who are here for the first time, that we've been trying to get to come for years, and they've had a great experience here. So it's going to be fun to see how this grows. We've made some really interesting relationships with some high-profile media, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of partnerships.
Yep. Follow up and et cetera, et cetera. Chris, I've ignored you for a few minutes because they kept talking, but your final thoughts, and then we'll wrap this baby up.
Just like what Kevin said, there's been some fantastic developments here. We've seen some new technology that's coming down the road. I think there's some great stuff to look forward to in the products that the RV industry is putting out that's going to make the lifestyle that much better. And I know I'm looking forward to playing with some of that stuff, and I think it's going to be...
And writing about it, right?
And writing about
Exactly.
it. It's going to be a great year coming ahead.
Great. So, from the most experienced people in the RV industry, this is John DiPietro, hoping and praying that the next button I put saves this and doesn't lose it, because I think this has really been cool, and I don't... Anybody else come in that... No, good. We're ready to go. And what do I do next? Here, I got to stop this button here. I'll press this here and see what happens. I'm afraid to press an X.
Big oops come out.
No, not yet. Okay, I'm going to press X. That's the only way I can stop. Wait a minute. Let's see. There's 3 buttons. Share, enable.
3.
Okay. Are you sure you want to stop streaming?